Anyway, if you're camera shy, I understand, but I do need to find someone to debate the Israeli-Palestine conflict with who knows a lot about it. Like if you have a professor or something, I'll start reaching out to people. I don't know. I don't think it's my biggest concern because but it is something that requires critical thinking and someone who isn't emotionally invested into either Israel or Palestine to just be objective and be like, okay, what's going on? Explain it to me. Okay, Netanyahu doesn't want a peace deal. Trump said that, but then we defended Israel. We ended the war in 10 days. That's not too bad. So what's really going on here? I need to know more. I need people to educate me. That's why when I do these Zoom podcasts, and they're really easy to do. Zoom podcasts for the future, in-person podcasts are going the way of the dinosaur because they're too expensive. Nobody wants to fly to do your podcast. They want to do it from the comfort of the living room. They can just do 3 small podcasts instead of going to Timcast IRL and going to Washington, D.C. to just do like 3 or 4 hours on the show. That's a lot of traveling, a lot of time they could otherwise use, so they just do Zoom podcasts. So Zoom podcasts are the future for anyone who can ask good questions, who has something unique to say about things, who has no ideas, who approaches things from a critical thinking lens, where he's open to being wrong. I know I could be wrong about a lot of things. That's what makes me different, is I know that 100% of my research conclusions cannot be 100% correct. I know that at least some of my research conclusions, even though they're formulated by studying opposing viewpoints, evaluating the logical validity of the arguments, analyzing the evidence, and then coming to vigilant conclusions subject to change based on further research and analysis, does not make me free of all bias. Though I do my best to counteract things like confirmation bias by trying to prove myself wrong about the things I believe in the most. Like if I really believe in something too much and it's emotional, I'm like, that's not good. If there's too much emotion tied into it, that means I'm being irrational. You can't be emotional and rational at the same time. I've learned that. Try being emotional and rational with your girlfriend at the same time. Good luck. You can't. That's why if you're emotional, you say, I gotta walk away and clear my head. Then you come back when you can talk again. But if you want to yell, you walk away. Why? You're going to yell because you're emotional, you're upset. And you're emotional upset about this, about people dying. I'm upset that people are dying. I don't want anybody to die. That's why I like someone who doesn't start new wars. We both want the same thing. We want less people to die. We just disagree about the methodology to get there. But we both believe in the truth, right? Do you believe there's an objective truth, an objective reality? Not everything is subjective. And we're not all just trying to use words to gain power over each other. And everything's completely subjective. Like, I believe that door is there. But from your perspective, it could be an elephant. That's postmodernism. And a lot of colleges teach that. And I can't debate someone who's postmodernist because then they'll just say, well, there's no objective truth. And then it's like, ugh. Well, if we can't start with the framework that there's an objective truth that we can both find using critical thinking, then there's no point to the debate. So you have to tell me, do you believe there's an objective truth? And do you believe that you might be wrong about some things? And are you willing to change your point of view about things? If I ask you questions, and are you willing to rethink some things and maybe get a more nuanced perspective after engaging in a dialectic? A dialectic is like a debate. Instead of it being competitive, both people go into it with the desire to achieve the truth. We share our perspectives, we ask each other questions, and we try to get close to the truth. We might even Google things while we're talking to each other. Like, oh, let's look that up. Let's see what the evidence is. Oh, okay, so that percentage of Palestinian people have died since this year. Okay, and this is a number of terrorist attacks that were, that Israel suffered. And this is when Trump said Netanyahu didn't want a peace deal, and this is what happened with that war, and what could we do better? What should we be doing? And who do you think we should elect that would actually do a good job with this? Like, where's the Democratic leadership? Like, our leadership sucks. Like, who's going to run after Trump? Like, J.D. Vance? That could be great, except he's Hindu, and Republicans won't vote for a Hindu because, God forbid, someone with a different religion is elected. I don't care what the religion is, as long as they reduce the size and spending of government and, chill in executive orders and get us back to constitutionalism is what we need. We need like a Ron Paul type figure, but a little tougher. Ron Paul was all about get rid of all our military bases all over the world. We can't do that, all right? We are the world's policemen, whether we like it or not. If we leave that void out there, it's just going to be filled by Russia and China, and they'll start policing the world. So we screwed ourselves. Now we have to police the world. We're screwed. But Trump polices the world pretty well. He ended the Israel-Iran war in 10 days. I think that's really good. So how can you not like Trump? I don't get it. But maybe you're right and I'm wrong. Or at least you have valid criticism of him, unlike MSNBC or CNN, who just makes stuff up. Like, I'm tired of all people lying about Trump. You have valid criticisms of Trump. But I'm tired of people saying, He said there were fine people on both sides, but if you watch a full 40-second clip, like Joe Rogan said, I lost my faith in Obama when he repeated that lie, because if you watch the whole clip, he says, I'm not talking about the racists. You know, I'm not talking about the racists. He's talking about the other people that were there that were conservatives, that weren't part of the racists, but were still didn't want to tear down old statues because they're about history or whatever. But they weren't the ones with the tiki torches, but they were there. They just weren't the violent ones. They were just watching, and some of them tried to help, but didn't know what they were doing because like both sides were being violent. And there were violent people on both sides and good people on both sides. There were good people on the left, good people on the right there, and there were the violent ones. That's what Trump was saying, you know. And it's obviously watch full clip, but they only showed that small edit, that 10-second edit of him saying there were fine people on both sides, completely out of context, and then lied about. Now Russiagate was completely manufactured. We know that because one of Obama's people forgot to burn a burn bag. I mean, come on, let's have a dialectic. Let's really talk about the truth. Let's get to the truth of how our government works, who we should elect to office, who we can rely on, and if we have any hope for the future. Maybe you think we're just screwed. Maybe you think Trump is evil, and Kamala Harris is evil, and Biden was evil. They're all evil, and we're just screwed. And if that's the case, well, damn, we are screwed. Except if we make education great again and teach critical thinking, then people will learn how to use critical thinking skills and be like me, able to admit when they're wrong and question things and be like, yeah, teach me what you know. Like, I want to know what you know. Like, let's get over the facts and discuss it and use a critical lens to figure out what the truth is to the best of our ability. I mean, we can never know the full truth and be 100% certain that we know the truth. We can only come to conclusions that we hope are approximate to the truth as closely as possible. And we can always go deeper and get more nuanced with our viewpoints. It's not like we ever had the full truth of anything. You could always be further educated about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. You could spend your entire life studying it. You spend your entire life studying Israeli-Palestine, or just one aspect. You spend your entire life studying one aspect of the or 1 year of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Seriously, it's a very dense subject. So if we're going to do it, like, we got to do some research and all that, and I got to find someone who knows a lot about it. So I guess I got to contact a professor. Really, sorry, I shouldn't ask you. It's just some random dude on the internet. I got to talk to a professor of international relations and see if he'll come on and explain to me why the Palestinians are the victims, Israel is evil, and how much power the Israeli lobby has over our government, how that's bad, kind of like Tucker Carlson did. But I think I'm a little bit of a better critical thinker than he is, actually. And I am also more knowledgeable than he is. I've read more books than he does. I've read over 1,000 nonfiction books, so I know a lot of things. So I think that makes me someone who will be very successful in podcasting, just because of my vast breadth of knowledge across numerous fields as a everyday polymath. But we'll see. Anyway, yeah, that's my perspective. Do you think I'm crazy for what I believe, or do you see where I'm coming from? That's my question.